UFC CEO Dana White believes the rivalry between Khamzat Chimaev and Sean Strickland has reached historic levels ahead of UFC 328, claiming that only the legendary feud between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Conor McGregor carried more genuine hostility. The comments came during UFC 328 fight week as tensions between Chimaev and Strickland exploded during multiple media appearances, culminating in a chaotic press conference face-off that nearly turned into a full-scale brawl. According to White, the bad blood between the two middleweights has become one of the most intense rivalries the UFC has seen in modern history. White reportedly stated that even famous rivalries such as Jon Jones vs. Daniel Cormier did not reach the same emotional intensity as the feud between Chimaev and Strickland. In his view, only Khabib Nurmagomedov vs. Conor McGregor carried more authentic hatred heading into a fight. That comparison alone shows how seriously the UFC boss views the situation. The Khabib vs. McGregor rivalry remains one of the biggest and most controversial feuds in MMA history. Their hatred spilled beyond press conferences and interviews, eventually leading to the infamous UFC 229 post-fight chaos in Las Vegas. By comparing Chimaev and Strickland to that rivalry, White signaled just how volatile UFC 328 has become. The build-up to UFC 328 has been filled with non-stop trash talk, personal insults, and security concerns. Reports throughout fight week suggested additional security and even police presence were required because of fears that the two fighters could physically clash before entering the octagon. Those concerns proved justified during the official UFC 328 press conference in Newark. As the event concluded with the traditional face-off, Chimaev and Strickland immediately became aggressive toward one another. Security teams surrounded the stage while Dana White attempted to keep the situation under control. Seconds later, Chimaev kicked Strickland during the stare-down, causing complete chaos as security and police rushed between both camps. Videos of the altercation quickly spread across social media, generating millions of views and dramatically increasing anticipation for the middleweight title fight. The rivalry has become deeply personal over the past 2 years. Chimaev and Strickland were previously connected through training relationships in Las Vegas, but tensions escalated after repeated insults and public accusations. Strickland frequently mocked Chimaev during interviews and podcasts, while Chimaev responded by promising to dominate the former champion inside the cage. The hostility appears completely genuine. Unlike promotional rivalries that sometimes feel exaggerated for publicity, White believes the anger between these two fighters is real. That authenticity is a major reason why fans have become so invested in the matchup. From a sporting perspective, the fight itself is massive. Chimaev enters UFC 328 undefeated at 15-0 and currently holds the UFC middleweight championship after defeating Dricus du Plessis. The Chechen-born superstar has become one of the UFC's biggest global attractions because of his relentless wrestling, aggressive finishing style, and undefeated record. Meanwhile, Strickland remains one of the sport's most outspoken and unpredictable figures. The former middleweight champion shocked the MMA world when he defeated Israel Adesanya to capture UFC gold, and he now hopes to reclaim the title by ending Chimaev's unbeaten streak. The stylistic matchup only adds more intrigue. Chimaev is known for explosive wrestling pressure and violent grappling attacks, while Strickland relies on relentless forward pressure, cardio, and his signature jab-heavy striking style. Many analysts believe the fight could become one of the defining middleweight battles of the decade. Despite the chaos surrounding the event, White appears thrilled by the attention the rivalry has generated. UFC 328 has become one of the most talked about events of 2026, largely because fans genuinely want to see these two men settle their differences inside the cage. Some observers have even questioned whether the animosity between Chimaev and Strickland has crossed the line. Multiple fighters and coaches have commented publicly on the level of hostility surrounding the matchup, with some worried emotions could overwhelm discipline on fight night. Still, White believes rivalries like this are part of what makes combat sports special. The UFC president has spent decades promoting some of the biggest feuds in MMA history, but placing Chimaev vs. Strickland directly behind Khabib vs. McGregor shows just how extraordinary he considers this rivalry. Now fans are waiting to see whether the fight itself can live up to the incredible tension surrounding it. With the middleweight championship on the line and genuine hatred fueling both fighters, UFC 328 could deliver one of the most emotionally charged main events the sport has seen in years.